From India's grandest monuments to your neighborhood mosque or Qabristan, chances are you're standing on Waqf land. But who owns this land and why did the parliament battle over it for 17 hours straight on 2 consecutive days? Welcome to Deep Dive with Outlook. Today we break down the Waqf Amendment Bill 2025. In Islamic tradition, Waqf refers to a permanent dedication of property, land, building, or even cash for religious or charitable causes. Once designated as Waqf, the ownership is believed to transfer to God. The person creating the Waqf is called a Waqif and the caretaker a Muttawalli. In India, the scale is staggering. Government data shows Waqf boards control 8.7 lakh properties spanning 9.4 lakh acres valued at around 1.2 lakh crore. That makes the Waqf board India's third largest landowner after the armed forces and the railways. Uttar Pradesh has the highest number of Waqf properties, 27% of the national total. Other states with significant Waqf assets include West Bengal, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. And these aren't obscure lands. The Jama Masjid, Bada Imambara, Salim Chishti's tomb, all are Waqf properties. Even the Ambani residence Antilia is alleged to be built on Waqf land. But Waqf in India has always existed in a legal grey zone. Back in British India, the Privy Council called Waqf a perpetuity of the worst kind, but India chose a different path. The Musa Iman Waqf Validating Act of 1913 safeguarded Waqf's legal existence. Post-independence, the Waqf Act of 1954 created state boards and a central Waqf council in 1964. This was overhauled in 1995, giving statutory powers to the Waqf Tribunal, detailing Muttawalli duties and governing how land is managed. Still, loopholes remained, ranging from poor land records, misuse of power, encroachment to unaccounted donations. And then came the 2025 Amendment Bill. On April 3rd, the Waqf Amendment Bill 2025 was passed in Rajya Sabha with 128 votes to 95. Lok Sabha passed it earlier with 288 votes to 232 after intense debates. But just hours later, AIMIM's Asaduddin Owaisi and Congress MP Mohammad Javed moved to the Supreme Court, calling the bill unconstitutional. However, on April 6th, the bill officially became a law after it got the assent of President Draupadi Murmu. So what's in this bill, now law, that's making headlines? It removes the Waqf by user clause, which allowed religious land claims based on long-time usage, even without documentation. It curtails arbitrary claims by scrapping Section 40, ending Waqf boards' powers to declare land as Waqf unilaterally. Earlier, under Section 40, Waqf boards could unilaterally declare any land as Waqf if they believed it was used for religious purposes, even without solid documentation. Earlier, a district collector could survey Waqf land. Now, only government officers above the collector's rank can inspect cases where the Waqf board and the government both claim ownership. Inheritance rights for women must be secured before Waqf dedications. Special provisions are added for widows, divorcees, and orphans. Muttawallis must register all property details on a central portal within 6 months. The mandatory contribution from Waqf institutions to boards is reduced from 7% to 5%. And most controversially, it proposes 2 non-Muslim members in every Waqf board, both central and state level. Home Minister Amit Shah defended the bill.
1913 से 2013 तक 18 लाख एकड़ और 13 से 25 तक एक कानून बनने का परिणाम क्या आया और नई 21 लाख एकड़ भूमि बढ़ गई.
Union Minister Kiran Rijiju went a step further, claiming that
अगर आज हम ये संशोधन लेके नहीं आते तो जिस सदन में हम बैठे हैं ये पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग इसको भी क्लेम किया जा रहा था.
But the opposition isn't happy. Mallikarjun Kharge called the bill a veiled land grab.
ऐसा ही अब वक्फ बोर्ड के प्रॉपर्टीज को जमा करके इसका एक लैंड बैंक बना के क्या किस बड़े ने बिजनेसमैन को देते, कॉरपोरेट को देते, मुझे मालूम नहीं।
For many Muslims, Waqf properties are not just pieces of land, they are community lifelines. Mosques, madrasas, dargahs, qabristans. But they're often mismanaged, encroached upon, or stuck in litigation. The new bill claims to fix that. But critics argue it opens the door to greater state control, especially over undocumented or century old shrines and graveyards. The inclusion of non Muslim members in Waqf boards has also sparked concerns about interference in religious institutions. As the Waqf amendment becomes law, all eyes now turn to the Supreme Court. Will this be remembered as a long overdue reform or as the state stepping onto sacred ground? Stay tuned with Outlook for more such explainers.